Hey there, Internet people. Like the title of the video says, in this one I'm going to try to share with you some tricks and tips on how to keep warm if you're RVing in the winter or when it's really cold. The best advice I can give is find a place where it's free power. All right, YouTubers, it is very cold. It's about 34 degrees, I think. And I'm going to show you a form of winter camping. 34 is cold, but the wind makes it even colder. I'm at a casino. I am plugged into power. It's my bike. I'm heading back to Ohio. You can see I have some reflectix in the back window. This trip started out, I was wearing shorts and sandals when I came up here, and it has gotten colder. So let's show you what's going on inside, and then I'll talk some more. Oh, we got a cat here. Got the TV going. That's my heat source. And I know it is not the right way to do it, but when you have two cats, sometimes you got to do it. Here comes one cat. I hear him stirring. There's the other dude. All right, we're going to talk about it. Hold on. All right, I'm going to do a bunch of quick, simple things that you should never forget. One you should never forget is your dash heat. In a van, your dash heat can save the day. It can keep you warm. Don't forget the simple stuff. All right, so when you're in the RV and you don't have water, your coffee pot, you can use this to heat up water, do your dishes with it. You can heat up water, use a washcloth to wipe yourself off, you know, like a sponge bath kind of thing. That and baby wipes. That's a good way to keep clean when you're winterized. Another thing that's important for me, that's my drain for the shower that's in the middle of my floor in my kitchen, living room area. I put tape over it so, one, the cat's water doesn't get down there and freeze. Or if you're coming in with snow on your boots and stuff like that, it's to keep water from getting down in there. And there is RV antifreeze in the trap. When it comes to this area, this is the double door to come in, and it can be a little drafty and get cold. I will take a blanket when it's really cold, and I'll put a blanket there to trap the drafts out to keep it warmer. Another very, very simple thing, dress warm when you're inside. Those are slippers. I wear slippers when I'm in here. All right, obviously that's reflectix, and that's a given. I have it cut to fit all my windows back here, and that helps a lot. On this one, I even have on the back window, I use two pieces that cover the back window, and then it also goes down behind the bed onto the floor. So to keep the drafts and the cold out. As I just said, I have reflectix that I run all the way up when the door is closed. And I will keep a good cold weather sleeping bag back here, just in case everything goes wrong and you need something to stay warm. And I'll take that out of the stuff bag and I'll put it up against here to keep the drafts out of the back door, because, you know, the back door is large and can be drafty. Something else that's really, really important when you're winter or summer camping is you get a lot of humidity in here. So a dehumidifier works great. If you don't have power, obviously just use a damp rid that doesn't need power to run. The windows can get condensation, so I try to wipe them down once a day. I've even had them when it was 20 below, like the windows inside froze. It's going to happen, but it's perfectly fine. And here's another type that doesn't need to be plugged in. You plug it in to dry it out, and then you just set it out, and this will absorb moisture. All right, that's some easy tips. Like, I love the common sense things. Most things are common sense. As I said, this is my only heat source. Right now, I think I'm going to plug in the second one because I have to keep it up high because the cats, I don't like having it down low and getting their cat hair and stuff in it. But since they're both being lazy right now, I might put it on the floor, but there's more. It gets cold on the floor when you're winter camping. And again, I know I'm cheating, but I'm going to talk more about that on camera here in a second. But when you see these grooves right here, I have a wood floor that sets in there, and I can put some insulation under it, which helps a lot. But again, I was wearing shorts and sandals for this fall trip, and now I am not. All right, Vinny? Gotta keep it warm for Vinny. But the game changer is a heated mattress pad. That's on high? I don't know how it got to high. Vinny, did you change this? Did you change this, dude? I'll put it down 9 or 10. But that's the greatest thing in the world. This is my air conditioner. It also has a heat option, and sometimes I use that, like if I go away for a while and it's really cold and I leave the cats in here, I'll put this on, because again, I don't like having heat sources at the bottom, you know, where they can get their hair in it or fiddle with it, even though I know it would turn itself off, just being safe. Something else I wanted to show you. I got my refrigerator down pretty darn low. Not that it'll focus and tell you, but it's down on, if I go inside, you can see my thermometer on there is showing about 20 degrees. There's a lot of stuff in there. So, because of this guy, the diabetic 17-pound cat, I gotta do something. This is his insulin, and I keep it in a travel thing, if you can see it in there. So, I'm trying to be careful. I put it in and out, put the freezer pack that the travel thing uses in and out of the freezer, and then his insulin into the fridge for little bits to keep it frozen. But I don't want it to freeze. But even though the fridge is that cold, my coffee creamer hasn't frozen yet. But if you travel with diabetic animals, you have to be very careful when it's hot about keeping it cold, and when it's cold about not freezing it. Traveling with cats can be pretty difficult. So when I'm in here and they're settled down, I'll put a heater sometimes down on the floor, try to keep it warm, because, you know, it's cold. The floor's cold. Up above, it's fine, but down on the floor, it's cold. So I just have to be careful to keep an eye on them. But this little Toastmaster heater from the thrift store works great. Up high, it's about 65 degrees, and I just turned that extra heater on, so fine. Nice and comfortable. Yep, that's snow. Sleet, maybe. I'm on site number 4. Come on over. There's lots of room. I'm still the only idiot here. But I won $140 today. And I'm warm and toasty, and I didn't pay anything. Alright, YouTubers, I wanted to get on camera and do a little bit more talking about winter or cold weather RVing. I also want to say at the beginning, what I've shown you already and what I do is technically cheating. I have a propane furnace, and I could run the propane, and if I wasn't on power, that's what I would do. But an important thing to remember, one, propane stinks, so if I can use an electric heater and I'm not paying for power, it's a win-win-win, and I won $150 in a casino. That's a great thing. A lot of people don't realize if you're running your propane furnace, well, your battery has to power the fan if you're boondocking, you know, you're not connected to power. And that fan can drain your battery quicker than you think. Most people that I've heard of that do it consistently says the battery will die much quicker than you'll run out of propane. So that's an important thing to do. I do some winter camping. I try to go every month. I try to be in the RV for at least a few days. It is now, and it usually is in the winter, my RV is winterized, so I don't have any water, just water that I carry in a jug that I use for drinking, and doing dishes I will use my coffee pot to heat up the water, wash it in a bucket, then get rid of the water. So my main recommendation is, if you're gonna do a little bit of winter camping, I would say do it the way I do. Go someplace where you can get power. A lot of times going into parks that have RV places, they're open. By my place, they're open all winter long. They'll come in and plow occasionally. There's usually not many people there. So I haven't invested in some of the things that people who do a lot of winter camping should and usually do get. Because I have 2 cats, one of which wants a lot of attention. So it's not always easy to make YouTube videos in your van when you're traveling with 2 cats. If she'll lay down, she'll let me finish. Okay. So I always have that heater running, usually on low, and this van is insulated pretty well, so it does a good job. So if you're gonna do this different than I do, if you're gonna do it long term and do it a lot, I think the best way to go is to get one of those Chinese diesel heaters. Again, my van's gas, it's not diesel, but everything I hear about people that do a lot of winter camping,
those Chinese diesel heaters are just fantastic. They don't drain your battery, and they're very efficient. They're small. They work really well. If you're going to do a bit of it, but maybe don't want to invest in that, and they're not very expensive, but you got to run lines and do stuff, just get a Mr. Buddy propane heater. They're safe. They're very efficient. You again won't have the problem of draining your house battery, and you just have to keep it vented, which you should always keep your RV vented. If you're doing a build or have an RV, make sure you have a fully functioning CO2 sensor. It's very important not to suffocate yourself. I think that's the best way to go. Some people, I've seen it in some even Class Bs, but usually in a little bit bigger, people will put in like those marine fireplaces that use like pellets and stuff. You could have a wood-burning fireplace in your RV if you so choose to. It would be cool. I wouldn't want one because I don't do a lot of winter camping. I do a handful of it, and they take up a lot of space. And when you're in something that's 20 feet long, you're trying to conserve on your space. I don't have use of my gray tank or my freshwater tank because on my RV, they're both outside and they will freeze. But say you're doing a build and you plan on doing some cold weather camping, cassette toilet, you don't have that issue. And if you can get your tanks inside where the warmth is, then you'll do a better job of full season RVing, whether you're in a small Class B or a larger van. Or an RV, you know, Class A or something like that.
To use a normal RV bathroom, just use RV antifreeze in it and you're good to go.
It's not rocket surgery. You know, it's all pretty straightforward on ways to keep yourself warm. And I have found that winter is the least respected month to go RVing. You can have a fantastic time. My best thing that I ever bought for this was a heated mattress pad. I have it on right now, and they are fantastic, like a total game changer. You'd have to look them up because I can't tell you off the top of my head how much power they use, but it's not a lot. You can power them off of your house battery, or if you have a little Jackery, I have a Duracell kind of thing, you can power them off of that, and there is nothing better. It's changed how I winter and cold weather camp. Also, I showed you my floor has wood inserts because the coldest place in the van is the floor. The wood inserts will give me a raised platform where I can also insulate under it, but it cuts my headroom down. I'm 5'10" and it puts me right about the limit. So if you're taller, you have to be careful if your van has something like that. But I love the way I do it. Like here, I'm the only one here and I didn't have to pay nothing, and I won at the casino. I can go in and use their facilities when I go to campgrounds or wherever. Usually at least the latrine is open. So winter camping is fantastic. It's usually not crowded. You can go for some awesome hikes around. So I really, really suggest doing these simple things. Obviously for Reflectix, put Reflectix all around. It'll help keep the heat in. My biggest problem with that is if I close off my front windshield, the cats go crazy. They need to be able to see out. So the window I don't cover is usually that windshield because I'm sleeping as far away from that cold as I can get. And hanging a tarp or hanging a blanket down to seal off is another great thing to do. Again, with the cats, they need to be able to get up in there, so it's difficult for me. But if you own an RV and you've been winter camping, you probably have enjoyed it. If you own an RV and you haven't, I suggest giving it a try. Maybe do it simple the way I do it. Just plug in and use electric heaters. You'll be fantastic. If you're going to do more of it, get the other items I discussed. Just be mindful about the fan on your propane furnace draining your battery. But other than that, I think you should enjoy and have a great and wonderful day doing it. And hopefully this was helpful as I prepare to go back out into the cold. When I woke up, the way I heat the RV, the floor, I put this on the floor last night, was 50 degrees. But up top, it's nice and warm. It's snow out there. Not a lot, but
It's also why I can't put the things in the windshield to try to keep the cold out, because they go bananas. Go bananas if you can't see out the window. If you can see where I talked about condensation, that's the inside of the back window of the van. I gotta wipe it down. I had the Reflectix in there to try to keep the warm in. Causes condensation from breathing and whatnot.